One of the big questions that I've been getting a lot lately is when are the Lions going to make this trade? And if they don't make this trade for an edge rusher, is there anyone out there that could potentially help them? Well, I think that there is. I've got a few guys. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Mike Payton from A to Z Sports Detroit, and today we're going to talk about a few guys that the Lions could maybe grab off the street that could help them situationally, rotationally, try to manufacture up some pressure, some pass rush that they're missing now that Aidan Hutchinson's gone. So first off, let me just say this right off the bat. None of these guys are going to replace Aidan Hutchinson. That's just impossible to do. This guy was having a generational season. Like, how generational was it? He hasn't played in 3 weeks, and he's still second in the league in pressures. Like, that's insane. You can't replace that. But what you can do is find some guys that can maybe come in and rotationally help and at least scheme them up, manufacture them the right way, and maybe you can get some pressures, some hurries, and maybe a sack or two. So here's some guys that are currently available in free agency that I think the Lions could take a look at. Let's start off here. First off, we got Shaquil Lawson, former first-round draft pick, spent a lot of his career with the Buffalo Bills. This is a guy that hasn't really started a lot, but he has come in and had 4 or 5 sack seasons, multiple ones. And I think that, this is somebody that has shown he could play rotationally, has shown that he can play within a group of guys. And I think that you just apply that right over to Detroit, and I think that'll help. This is a guy that I think the Lions should be most interested in. Now, he's only 30 years old, so it would be really more of a rental type situation. This isn't a long-term deal. As a matter of fact, I don't think any of the guys that I have on this list are really a long-term deal, but this is of all the guys, I think this is the most ready player that I'm going to suggest today that could really help the Lions almost immediately and, well, at least help them the most. I think all these guys can help in some way, but I think Lawson is one that could help the absolute most right away. The next player on my list is Breeland Speaks. Now, Lions fans might remember this guy because he played for the Michigan Panthers last year and was the UFL's Defensive Player of the Year. Had 10 sacks in that season last spring. Got a shot with the Jaguars this year, but ultimately was cut at the end of training camp. I don't know why this guy's not on a practice squad right now, at the very least. I mean, I understand that he's 29 years old, and there's a point to be made there that, hey, he's kind of nearing the end of his career already. Do we really want to take on this potential project just based off of, some that he might be good? And it's just weird to me that no team is even willing to just have him around just to come in when they need an extra player. This guy has shown not only in the UFL but in the NFL that he can play some ball. He helped the Chiefs win the Super Bowl not too long ago. Like, he was a part of that. He was an actual guy who played some games, regular season, started a few, but just hasn't been able to really lock down an NFL spot. I think the Lions are the perfect spot for him with Terrell Williams as the Lions defensive line coach. I think he can get the most out of whatever it is that Breeland Speaks has left in the tank, and I just think that this is a really good fitting and a really good pairing, and I'm really surprised that the Lions were never really on this, considering this guy played in their building last year. Speaking of playing in their building, here's a guy who actually played for the Lions. This one intrigues me. This is a former 4th-round pick for the Lions. I'm talking about Austin Bryant. Was a really good preseason player, really good practice squad guy for a little while. In 2021, he really got some playing time, had 4.5 sacks. I thought that there was a lot there that showed that he could be a rotational piece for this team going forward. Unfortunately, in 2022, things didn't work out, and he wound up released. And he's spent 2023 with the 49ers and the Vikings. But 2024, for some reason, no team picked him up. Nobody invited him to summer camp. He's available. He's out there. I don't know why no team has tried to pick him up and see what's going on. And I think the Lions would be a good team to maybe bring him back, considering that has familiarity with Aaron Glenn's scheme. He knows what Dan Campbell is expecting as a head coach. I don't know how much or if there's anything there with Bryant, but if there is, I would love to see him back in this coaching staff. And again, with Terrell Williams, I think there's a really good chance that you could do something there. This is a name that I think would be perfect for the Lions. The final one is one that really, really interests me. And I think that this guy has just had just bad situations. That's all it is, just a bad situation. Myles Sanders was the third round pick for the Arizona Cardinals, played 13 games his rookie year, had 3 sacks, started in 4 of those games, by the way. The problem is in 2023, at the beginning of training camp, he gets hurt. Couple that with the Cardinals bringing in a brand new coaching staff. And I think they just, a lot of times when a new coaching staff comes in, they kind of throw the old players from the last regime to the wayside sometimes. And I think that Myles Sanders is one of those players that got thrown to the wayside. They let him go. He finished the season with the Texans, and he looked pretty good when the Texans actually allowed him to play, which wasn't a whole lot. But when he did come in, he was getting pressures. He was making some things happen. He didn't get a sack or anything like that, but he played fairly well. And then this year, no team has, just like Bryant, no team has taken this 25-year-old player on to see what he has during training camp or during the regular season. And it's just insane to me. Much like Speaks, like, why is no team have this guy at least on their practice squad? I think there's something there with Sanders. I think that he just had bad situation. Like, I think it's just everything just went wrong. And he just needs to find a team to get back on to show that he still has something in him. And again, he's still super young. This may be more of a long-term project, but I think the Lions should definitely jump on having Myles Sanders, at least on the practice squad, just to see what he can do. So that's what I've got. Let me know what you guys think about any of these players in the comments below. Would love to have conversation about them. But until then, we'll see what happens. Maybe the Lions do make a trade. But we'll see you next time.